The moving truck pulled away, leaving behind a dust trail and two exhausted homeowners standing on the freshly swept porch of 119 Rosemont Lane. Jordan adjusted his paint-splattered baseball cap, while Maya surveyed the street with cautious optimism. Tree-lined sidewalks, pastel shutters, picket fences, it was everything their old city apartment wasn't. But Jordan, ever the observant one, caught it first. Too quiet, too pristine, like a magazine spread frozen in time. And in the stillness, there it was, movement. Across the street, behind a hydrangea hedge, someone was watching. "Third time she's peeked out," Jordan muttered. Maya followed his gaze. A woman in her late 50s stood half-shadowed behind a gauzy curtain, phone in hand, scribbling something down. When their eyes met, she quickly ducked behind the drapes. "That's friendly," Maya said under her breath. They hadn't even finished unpacking when the first envelope slid under the door. No stamp, no signature, just bold black print. Violation. Exterior decorative item not in compliance with HOA Section 7.2. Immediate removal required. Jordan stared at it blankly, then glanced around their small front porch. "Decorative item? We haven't put anything out yet?" Maya frowned. "The welcome mat?" No way. They laughed it off, until 2 days later another note arrived. This time, taped to their garbage bin. "Trash bins visible from curb. Non-compliant storage. Final warning. Still unsigned." Still cold. Jordan made a joke about the bin being shy and moved it inside the garage. Maya posted on the neighborhood app asking who to contact about HOA rules. A few comments trickled in, vague and careful. Then came a message from HOA exec. "We tie. Notice several issues already. Suggest reviewing your property thoroughly. This community holds high standards." They hadn't even met the HOA board yet. The strange part? Other homes had the same bins out. Some even had kids' bikes sprawled across the lawn or wine chimes jangling in the breeze. But no notes, no violations. Something wasn't adding up. That night, while Jordan sketched mural ideas in his notepad, the motion light by the side gate flicked on. He stood slowly, peering through the kitchen blinds. Nothing. "Probably a raccoon," Maya said, yawning. But the next night it happened again. This time the light stayed on longer. Jordan opened the side door silently and stepped out barefoot onto the cool concrete. The alley between the houses was empty, but it felt recently empty, like someone had just been there. He checked the security feed from the doorbell camera. The motion was triggered, but no figure. Just a shadow moving oddly fast, and then static. "Glitch?" he said aloud, but something about it gnawed at him. The next morning, another note. This one not typed, but scrawled in sharp, angry handwriting. "You're being watched. This isn't that kind of neighborhood. No signature, no explanation." Jordan held the note with gloved hands, more curious than afraid. But Maya looked uneasy for the first time. "I don't think this is about rules anymore." That afternoon, while walking the dog, Maya passed the curtain house again. The woman, now visible and smug, stepped out onto the porch with a clipboard in hand and a forced smile. "Welcome to Rosemont," she said. "I'm Karen, Vice President of the HOA. We take pride in our order here." Maya nodded slowly, eyes locking with hers. Karen smiled wider. "Hope you're ready to follow the rules. Some people never learn." As Maya walked away, she felt it, a shift in the air. Something unseen, but heavy. The trap had been sprung, and they were already inside it. The next morning, Jordan found a brown envelope taped to their mailbox, sealed with an official-looking sticker that read, "Rosemont HOA Board." Inside was a 10-page pamphlet titled Community Standards and Aesthetic Expectations. Every page was highlighted in neon yellow, and clipped to the front was a note in aggressive cursive. "For your benefit, clearly you missed a few pages before moving in. Consider this a neighborly gesture." Maya rolled her eyes. She might as well have just tattooed "Control Freak" on our mailbox. Jordan skimmed the packet, thumbing past sections on shrub height, mailbox alignment, and seasonal decor. One section was triple highlighted, Unauthorized Exterior Art, Section 11.4. It outlined penalties for any non-sanctioned visual modifications that could disrupt uniformity. Exterior art? He said, brow raised. We haven't even touched a paintbrush yet. That changed later that week. Jordan, unable to sit still under scrutiny, started sketching on the backyard wall, out of street view behind a fence, technically private. It was part stress relief, part silent rebellion. The mural was abstract. Winding ivy, glowing orbs, hints of birds and trees forming a surreal dreamscape. It wasn't loud or garish, it blended into the nature around it. Neighbors who caught glimpses while walking their dogs paused to admire it. "That's beautiful," said an older man named Sam. "We could use a little more soul in this place." Karen, however, didn't see art. She saw offense. That weekend, during a Sunday HOA inspection walk, Karen arrived with 2 clipboard-wielding board members in tow. She pointed at every bush and step with practiced severity. When they reached Jordan and Maya's home, she lingered, longer than necessary, by the gate. "We'll need to inspect the rear perimeter," she announced, as if reading from a courtroom script. Jordan opened the gate, coolly. "Just routine," Karen said, stepping in like she owned the ground beneath her heels. She turned the corner and froze. There, half complete, the mural curved elegantly across the concrete wall like a living thing. Her eyes narrowed as her clipboard sagged. "This," she said tightly, "was not approved." Jordan folded his arms. "It's not visible from the street or any common area, and it's on our private wall." Karen's mouth formed a tight line. "Section 11.4 still applies. This isn't a free-for-all paint zone. We maintain a visual harmony in Rosemont. One homeowner's whim shouldn't pollute the neighborhood's cohesion." "It's a painting, not toxic waste," Maya muttered. Karen turned, as if just remembering. She was there. "You're new here. I don't expect you to understand yet." Jordan grinned, but there was no warmth in it. "Guess we'll let the board decide." The board did meet on Wednesday. The verdict: no immediate action required. A full review of the mural would happen at the end-of-month open forum. Karen was livid. That night, the motion sensor tripped again. Jordan sprang from bed and checked the camera. Once more. Nothing. But, in the morning, the mural had a new blemish. A faint line of red, like the beginning of a spray can's hiss, stopped mid-act. It wasn't enough to destroy the image. Not yet. But it was deliberate. Karen didn't mention it. She waved cheerfully from her porch that afternoon, sunglasses on, her dog trembling on a leash at her feet. That evening, Jordan bolted a small security camera above the mural. Discreet, high resolution, quiet. The trap had shifted. Now they were setting it. The camera above the mural blinked silently in the dark. Its tiny lens angled perfectly at the painted wall, waiting. Jordan didn't mention it to anyone, not even Sam next door, who had become their one reliable neighborly ally. He and Maya agreed, best not to tip off the source of their suspicions, especially if that source was still creeping through their yard after midnight. For the next few days, things were oddly quiet. No new violations, no notes taped to windows. Karen was even cordial, waving, smiling too long, as if she knew something. They didn't. Then came the email, sent from KHOA@rosemonteggmail.com. No subject line, no greeting, just a single image attachment. Jordan opened it. A photo, poorly lit, grainy, of him painting the mural at dusk. It had clearly been taken from behind the bushes. He handed the phone to Maya, his jaw tight. "She's stalking us." Maya's fingers hovered above the reply button. "Should we report this?" "Not yet," he said. "Let's see how far she'll go." The mural neared completion. Jordan's vision was coming alive. Luminous foxes beneath glowing trees, colors blending into the wall like light through a forest. At its center stood a twisted oak tree, leaves whispering outward like hands in motion. It was beautiful, and it was making someone furious. Late Friday night, the camera recorded its first full incident. 2 a.m., a figure crept along the side of the house. Slender build, hoodie. The spray can clicked. A red hiss struck the corner of the mural, just a single stroke. The figure froze mid-motion, turned toward the camera as if sensing something, and vanished into the darkness. The camera caught everything, except the face. Still, Jordan had enough. He downloaded the clip and saved it to a hard drive. The next day, while cleaning behind the garden boxes that bordered the mural wall, Jordan's trowel hit something solid, something buried just beneath the surface. Curious, he dug a little deeper and unearthed a small rusted tin box, the kind that might have held mints or coins decades ago. Inside were 3 things: a faded Polaroid of a mural. Different, older, but familiar. A crumpled HOA letter marked, "Final Notice, Graffiti Violation," a silver charm bracelet with a single initial, L. He turned the items over in his hands, confused. Maya came outside and knelt beside him. "This mural," she said, pointing at the photo. It's on this wall. Same shape, same cracks, same knot in the brick." But it had clearly been painted years ago and erased. Jordan's chest tightened. "Someone did this before, and someone destroyed it," Maya added softly. That evening, they went door to door, showing the Polaroid to a few long-time residents. Most didn't remember it. Some denied it ever existed. But one older woman on Ash Grove Lane, Mrs. Norwood, squinted at it and said quietly, "That was Lily's." "Lily?" She nodded. "Sweet girl. Lived in your house before the Sanders. Used to paint outside. I think she got in trouble over that murals and then just left." "Do you know why?" Mrs. Norwood hesitated. "Ask Karen. They were friends. For a time." As Jordan and Maya walked home, the shadows on the sidewalk seemed longer, deeper. "Karen's done this before," Jordan said quietly. "She didn't just want the mural gone," Maya replied. "She wanted it forgotten." They reached the side gate. Jordan looked up at the mural, the colors now darker under the evening sky, the red spray line still faint but present. A scar on a memory someone tried to erase. He turned to the camera. Its tiny green light blinked back. "If she comes again," he said, "we'll be ready." The letter arrived on a Monday. No stamp, no return address. Just a plain white envelope, left on their doorstep, tucked under a smooth river stone like a message meant to be delivered in secret. Inside was a single sheet of paper, typed. No greeting, no name. Art fades. HOA rules don't. Remove the mural, or we will. Maya read it twice before setting it down slowly. The weight in her chest wasn't fear, it was fury. "She's threatening us now, not even pretending anymore." Jordan, arms crossed, stared out the kitchen window at the mural. The red line from the spray paint had started to fade under a light coat of touch-up. But to him, it was still there. A stain. A warning. He picked up the note, sniffed it. Nothing unusual. But something about the clean formatting, the flat tone. It felt sterile, clinical. "She's hiding behind paper now," he muttered. No fingerprints, no handwriting, just fear. That night, they installed a second camera, hidden inside a fake solar light by the alley fence. This one had night vision and motion tracking. Jordan wired it directly to a backup drive, isolated from Wi-Fi. No more glitches. No more disappearing footage. They weren't just being watched now, they were watching back. The following day, a knock came at the door. Sam from next door stood on the porch, shifting from foot to foot. "You guys okay?" he asked quietly. "Saw someone messing around by your back gate last night." Jordan tensed. "Did you see their face?" "No." Hoodie. But they were crouching low, like they were looking for something. I shouted and they bolted. Thought it was a kid at first, but... He paused. They ran like they knew the layout. He hesitated, then added, "You should know. Karen's been talking." "Talking?" "She's telling people your mural violates legacy codes. Says she's got support to have it forcibly removed. At the next board vote." Maya stepped into the doorway. "What's a legacy code?" Sam shrugged. "I think she's making it up. Nobody can find it in the bylaws." "Thanks, Sam," Jordan said. "We're not backing down." That evening, Maya took a walk around the block to clear her head. The sun had just dipped behind the rooftops, and street lamps buzzed to life. As she turned the corner near Karen's house, she slowed. Karen stood in her driveway, arms folded, speaking in hushed tones to two HOA board members, Mr. Vickers and a woman Maya had seen only once before. Karen was gesturing with intensity, pointing toward Maya and Jordan's house. The others nodded silently. Maya stepped closer into the shadows of a sycamore tree. "They're pushing boundaries," Karen hissed. "If we let that mural stand, everyone will start testing the rules. This isn't some bohemian free-for-all. This is Rosemont." "You think they'll cave?" asked the woman. Karen smirked. "They all do." Maya's spine stiffened. This wasn't about the mural. It was about control, about power. She turned and walked home quickly, eyes darting back every few steps. When she stepped inside, she dropped her keys with a clatter. "She's organizing something," she told Jordan. "A vote. A takedown. She's acting like we're infecting her system." Jordan nodded grimly. "Then let's infect it fully." He opened his laptop and loaded the security footage. "If she comes again, we catch her. But if we wait, if we let her believe she's winning..." Maya finished his thought. "She'll expose herself. The trap wasn't just set now, it was baited, and the whole neighborhood was about to watch." The next spray attack didn't come quietly. It came with a hiss that woke Jordan at 2:11 a.m. He sat up in bed, eyes wide, heart pounding, and grabbed his phone from the nightstand. Maya stirred beside him as the alert flashed. Motion detected. Rear camera 2. He tapped the notification. The screen came alive. The alley fence. Movement. A figure in a hoodie and gloves crouched low, spray can in hand. This time, the vandal didn't hesitate. A thick, red stroke across the fox's face, then a looping curve, almost a signature. Jordan watched, stunned, as the figure paused, tilted their head at the mural, then turned to look directly at the camera and pulled the hood down. Karen, clear as daylight. No mask, no hesitation. Her expression wasn't shocked or scared. It was defiant. She stared at the lens for a full 3 seconds before turning and walking away, slowly, like a woman daring someone to stop her. The following morning, Maya sat at the kitchen table staring at the freeze frame. She wanted us to see her. That wasn't a slip-up. That was a message. Jordan nodded, lips pressed thin. She thinks we won't do anything, that we'll stay quiet. She's daring us to escalate, and escalate they did. They sent the footage anonymously to the HOA board, CCing the community Facebook moderator and 2 local reporters known for sniffing out small-town scandals. They didn't attach their names, no subject line, just a single sentence typed at the bottom of the email. "Your vice president has a taste for vandalism." By 3 p.m., the video was everywhere. It spread faster than expected. At 4:12 p.m., Karen's house was surrounded, not by police, not yet, but by neighbors, silent, watching. Some took photos, others whispered. Karen stepped onto her porch in a clean-pressed blouse like it was any other day. Her sunglasses were on and her expression unreadable. Then Sam called out, "So much for community standards, huh?" Karen didn't flinch. "Fake," she said flatly. "Edited footage. These newcomers are stirring trouble. I'll speak at the emergency board meeting." But no one responded. Not even Vickers. He just stared at the sidewalk. Inside, Maya opened a second email sent to their anonymous burner account. It was from a private address, lwhitley948gmail.com. Subject: "You found it." She opened it carefully. The message was short. The mural was mine. She destroyed it then, too. "I left because I couldn't fight her alone. But you can. If you need me, I'll come back." Attached was a selfie. A woman in her early 30s standing beside a painting in a new city, a fresh mural blooming behind her. The style was unmistakable. Flowing ivy, luminous color. Maya called Jordan over. "Lily, the original artist. She's still out there." Jordan stared at the email, his voice low. "And she wants back in." That evening, the HOA issued a statement, cold, evasive, and utterly inadequate. "We are investigating a situation involving one of our board members. Until such time as facts are confirmed, we ask that residents refrain from public commentary. Community unity is our priority." But unity had already cracked. A chalk message appeared on the sidewalk outside Jordan and Maya's house that night. No one saw who wrote it, but it was big, bold, written in red: "Art lives, lies die." The mural, though wounded, still stood, and the neighborhood was no longer watching in silence. They were choosing sides. The Rosemont HOA Community Center had never been so full. Folding chairs were pulled from closets. Neighbors lined the walls. Phones were raised, already recording. At the front, under a massive banner that read, "Rosemont Order, Pride Legacy," sat the board, 5 members. 4 nervous, and 1 woman, composed as ever. Karen, Jordan, and Maya arrived side by side, Lily's emails still fresh in their inboxes. Jordan carried a USB drive in his pocket, his thumb pressed against it like it was a weapon. A staffer called the meeting to order. "Per community request, this emergency session is open forum. Please remain civil." Civility doesn't mean silence, someone muttered near the back. Karen rose, perfectly timed. "Let's begin with the so-called footage being spread across our neighborhood like wildfire." Her voice carried power, years of rehearsed authority. "This video is manipulated. Anyone with a laptop can fake a face. Deepfakes are very real." She paused for emphasis. "This is a coordinated attack on our HOA's leadership and principles. Principles I've upheld for over 12 years. A few murmurs of support, but more silence." Jordan stood. "Is that your official position?" Karen turned as if noticing him for the first time. "You are?" Jordan Miles, homeowner, muralist, victim of felony vandalism. A few people clapped. Sam whistled low. Karen smirked. "You're an artist, not a digital forensic analyst." He held up the USB drive. "Actually, this was analyzed by 2. He handed it to the moderator. "We submitted it for authentication. Metadata, timestamps, resolution overlays. All confirm the footage is real, unaltered." The moderator blinked, unsure what to say. Maya rose beside him. "And for the record, your spray can left residue on the wall. Same chemical compound as the paint Karen stores in her garage." Karen's lips twitched for the first time. "And," Maya continued, "we found a buried tin behind our garden wall, containing a photo of the original mural. The one you destroyed years ago." She paused. "Lily Whitley says hi." A collective gasp rippled through the room. Vickers, red-faced, leaned into the microphone. "Karen, is this true?" Karen didn't answer. She didn't have to. From the back of the room, the doors swung open. Lily walked in. Older than the photo, yes, but unmistakable. She wore a denim jacket splashed in paint, and her gaze locked directly onto Karen. "I watched you erase me once," she said, voice steady. I won't watch you erase someone else. Karen stepped back, just slightly. Her poise cracked. You left, she said. You drove me out, Lily snapped. You couldn't control what I painted, so you smeared. Me turned the board against me, then vandalized my work. Just like you did to them. The moderator cleared her throat. This is serious. Ms. Hartley will need a formal statement. She doesn't get a statement, someone shouted. She gets consequences, said another. Vickers stood slowly. Effective immediately, I motioned to suspend Karen Hartley. From the Rosemont HOA board, pending a full investigation. The crowd broke into scattered applause. Karen turned toward the door, but not before locking eyes with Jordan. For a moment, the mask fell. No smugness, no calm, just hate. Outside, the air was sharp with tension and hope. Lily joined Jordan and Maya under the glow of a street lamp. You didn't just save your mural, she said. You saved the truth. Jordan smiled. We're not done yet, because art had survived. But the war for Rosemont's soul had only just begun. Karen vanished for 2 days. Her shutters stayed closed, lawn uncut, mailbox overflowing. In a neighborhood obsessed with appearances, it was an act of war. But Jordan knew better. She wasn't hiding. She was calculating. On the 3rd day, it started. A Dropbox link appeared in the Rosemont Neighborhood Facebook group. Subject, HOA transparency. You asked for it. No name, no description, just a list of files. Maya clicked first. Her eyes widened. Jordan, these are HOA internal emails, hundreds of them. Meeting transcripts, complaint logs, archived legacy code drafts. Notes from Karen to board members dating back 7 years. One thread stood out. Karen H. to board. March 17, 2018. The mural's symbolic. Unapproved symbols foster disobedience. Make up a regulation if needed. Reference legacy code template. Call it a safety clause. Maya's voice shook with disbelief. She invented a fake rule and made everyone believe it was real. Another email showed a scanned violation form, pre-signed and time-stamped before the alleged offense even occurred. Here, Jordan pointed. She cited a family for having a bird bath, said it attracted pests. But 2 houses down, her friend had 3. Sam walked in moments later holding his phone. You see the files? The group's losing it. Someone's printing this out and dropping copies on every doorstep. Another message pinged Jordan's inbox, from the same anonymous email that had first sent the video. One truth reveals another. Check her donation records. Maya looked up local government sites. It didn't take long. Karen had funneled over $12,000 from the HOA discretionary budget to community beautification vendors, 3 of which shared a P.O. box in the next town. All inactive businesses. No websites. A fraud trail. Jordan's hand tightened into a fist. This isn't about paint. It's always been about power and profit. The next HOA meeting was moved to the community park to accommodate the crowd. Over 150 people showed up. Karen, flanked by a new lawyer, sat under a canvas tent at the edge of the lot. She looked thinner, paler, but no less determined. Vickers read the charges aloud: misappropriation of funds, falsification of HOA regulations, abuse of authority, harassment of residents, and destruction of private property. Karen didn't flinch. She leaned into the mic. All of this stems from a petty mural. No! Someone shouted from the crowd. It stems from you. Lily stood next to Jordan and Maya, arms crossed. Art reveals. That's what you couldn't control. A new homeowner spoke next, a young father holding his toddler daughter. I moved here for peace. Instead, we were threatened over fence colors and potted plants. This isn't an HOA, it's a dictatorship, Karen's lawyer whispered in her ear. Then, finally, she stood. You want me gone? Fine, she spat. Enjoy the chaos without me. And just like that, she walked out. No apology, no denial, no shame, only silence in her wake. That night, Jordan sat under the mural, the lights casting soft glows over the painted foxes. The red spray paint had been scrubbed completely, the wall sealed with protective coating. A community fund, started by Lily, covered every expense. Maya brought out 2 mugs of tea. Think she'll come back? Jordan sipped slowly. Not in the way she thinks. She handed him her phone. A new email from the anonymous sender. One last file, not about Karen, about the house, yours. Attached was a deed. Jordan leaned forward and his breath caught, because someone, years ago, had made a legal amendment to the property line. The mural wall. It might not belong to them after all. Jordan stared at the deed on his phone, the screen, illuminating his tense face in the dim light of the living room. The document was old, yellowed at the edges, but the legal language was clear enough. The wall, the mural wall, was not officially part of their property. It belonged to the HOA, or rather, it had been deeded to the HOA decades ago by a previous homeowner tucked away in the fine print of the subdivision's original covenant. His stomach tightened. Wait, so the wall isn't ours? Maya asked, leaning over his shoulder, eyes wide. Looks that way, Jordan said, scrolling through the PDF. Which means everything we did, painting the mural, trying to protect it, was technically unauthorized. Maya exhaled sharply. No wonder Karen was so obsessed. She wasn't just protecting rules, she was protecting control. Jordan nodded grimly. But here's the kicker. This amendment was signed the same year the original mural was painted, Lily's mural. Maya sat back, stunned. So the HOA owned that wall back then? And still does, Jordan confirmed. Which means when Karen destroyed that mural, she did so on HOA property. And when we painted ours, well, it was a rebellion on borrowed ground. The irony wasn't lost on them. The next morning, Jordan and Maya met Lily at the town's historic records office. Together, they dug deeper, pulling old maps, legal files, and HOA meeting minutes dating back 50 years. What they uncovered was astonishing. The wall was part of a shared easement, a narrow strip of land meant to be maintained by the HOA for utility access. No homeowner had exclusive rights to alter it without board approval, but the HOA's founders never envisioned art on that wall, or conflict, just control. And now, decades later, the very foundation of that control was crumbling. Back in Rosemont, Jordan posted a community update online, explaining the deed discovery in detail. He emphasized transparency, respect for rules, and the importance of open dialogue. The response was overwhelming. Neighbors weighed in, some angry at the HOA's secrecy, others inspired by the mural's message. A petition was started calling for clearer policies on community art and property boundaries, and the HOA board? It was forced to call an emergency meeting to discuss amending the rules, this time with genuine homeowner input. But just as the community began to heal, a new surprise arrived. A letter addressed to Jordan and Maya slipped under their door late one night. No signature, no return address, just a single sentence. The wall's not the only secret. Inside was an old key, rusted but intact. Attached was a note. Find the shed. The old community shed, located at the far end of the neighborhood park, had been locked for years. Some said it was full of maintenance tools. Others whispered about forgotten files and HOA skeletons. Jordan, Maya, and Lily went there first thing in the morning. The key turned with a creak. Inside, beneath layers of dust and cobwebs, they found a filing cabinet stuffed with yellowed documents, minutes from long-lost meetings, personal letters between founders, and a trove of information about hidden transactions and unreported decisions. Among the papers was a handwritten, ledger detailing illegal property sales, covert agreements, and even a list of houses marked for special assessments without homeowner consent. The final line on the ledger was chilling. Ensure compliance through fear and silence. Jordan looked at Maya and Lily. The fight wasn't over. Not by a long shot, but for the first time, they held the truth in their hands, and truth, like art, couldn't be erased. The end.